Good evening, everybody. What's up? Rick Sarah here, live cocktail hour with Rick. Come on out wherever you are. I am here to entertain you or bore you. Whatever you think, hi Nirvana. Hi. Hi, everybody. Skizzery Skiz and Destiny Glenn. And hey, what's up to you, Richard, Megan? By popular demand and long overdue, live with Rick cocktail hour. So please, if you're imbibing yourself, please join me. Settle back and let's have a nice little chat. You're having a spiked root beer? That's great. And hello, Retouch from the UK. Here I am, broadcasting from Florida, behind the mobile home park where I live. Thank you for joining me, Bobby. Our lovely pond right here, or a little lake. Hello, King Reese. Can everybody hear me okay? Would you just give me a comment, please? I'm using a external mic. I'm trying to hope that that does a better job. And if you just let me know if you hear me fine or if there is any issue. I would like to be heard. Can hear you okay? Everybody sounds good? Good. So the little fountain behind me runs pretty much all the time to help aerate the water. We have a series of pretty deep lakes, a little bit to the northwest of here, called Walsingham Park, and the water feeds all the way down to here and eventually goes to Lake Seminole. That's Seminhole, Seminhole, or Nole, sorry. Hi, Amber. You want one? This is a little experiment. It's olive juice and a little bit of sweet gherkin juice with vodka and ice, and it tastes pretty good. A little less savory, a little more sweet savory. So I'm here enjoying the beautiful environs of my social distancing maximum. I did enjoy the pool again. Yes, some vodka. The nice little 15-foot above ground pool of the neighbors who are right here. To my right, there's a fence. And this is where I am lucky enough. Right there behind that fence. Isn't this great? I got like mobility and everything. Yes. Yeah. It's a tough time, folks. We're all just trying to do the best we can. We're in an unknown future and we don't know what to do day to day with ourselves. Please use common sense. Have a lot of patience. You're going to need it, because I'm afraid this is not going to be fixed tomorrow or the next day or in a month or in 2 months. I'm even wondering if I'll be back here in the fall, because if things in Florida are not as stable as they are in Maryland, I will be staying in Maryland. I hope to God I'll be coming back, because I love it down here. But when it comes to your safety and health, you need to be thoughtful about that, especially now. You don't know who to believe. You don't know who not to believe. So you do the best you can. It's called judge. Judge the message. If it sounds sensible to you, follow it. If it doesn't, don't. Okay? I don't want to dwell too much on the dark side. Let's talk about something more happy, more joyfully, whatever, something. Thank you, Laurie. Is it Laurie or Lottie? I think it's Laurie. Unfortunately, everything keeps moving, and I have to keep adjusting my locking mechanisms when this microphone stand are not staying where I want them to be. Maybe it's just too much weight, and this keeps doing that to me. I'm really getting tired of it. Maybe I need a vice grip. Maybe I need to put a pole up over here. Hello, Jack. Ricardo checking in. Yes. So around here, I'm not going to point out all the birds because I'm sorry, it's just a little bit much and you probably couldn't see them very well. But we have a great blue heron over there eating. And then you have all the little birds around here too. We had woodpeckers and I think a parakeet yesterday. Stripper pole, there is none. No stripper pole here. I'm not aroused. We're not getting aroused, but now we're aroused. As you heard, the leader of North Korea may be gravely ill. I know. I'm praying feverishly for him. I'm so sad. I hope he gets well. God bless you. Kim Jong-un. Not. Only trouble is, if he's not in power, will someone who's even more unstable come into power? So don't necessarily think that this would be a better thing if old Kim was gone. Some other Un or Kim would come in there. I guess it's Kim's. I don't know. But we had a funny episode on our podcast series a couple episodes back where we had an erotica featuring a story with Kim and our President Donald Trump. If you are listening to the podcast, I hope you enjoyed that. It was written for us by a fan and submitted to Dan. So the lady's creativity was fully on display. What an author. And yesterday we did another podcast, Kim X Trump. Well, Kim times Trump equals infinity. I had a little good news for myself today. As you probably are aware, I've said this before, I worked in government as a public health official for up to 30 years. Counting time I worked with Baltimore City government, it's over 30 years, but counting the state time, just under 30 years. Plus I did private sector work and consulting for another, 6 years. So about 36, 37 years in environmental health and safety and public health. So the good news is I got a hold of a current official today, finally, after trying for over a week, so that I could try to share something to them. And hopefully this is something they're aware of, but if not, because of my experience, I wanted to make sure that the state of Maryland is fully aware of systems and technology available so that you wouldn't have to even go to a nursing home, but you could check the status of all the residents, because nowadays the records are all electronic, and with a couple arrangements you can get access to every one of the medical records, and the government has authority for doing these type of things. It's certainly not to release any information publicly. It would kept, of course, confidential, completely confidential. But the point is, if it's unsafe for you to go into a building and you can remotely check the status of each individual in a nursing home to determine whether or not you need to intervene and send in help. This is a tremendous asset, and that's what I'm hoping to get across to my friends in Maryland government now that I'm a Floridian, and help them to take advantage of those systems. And maybe similar operation down here, maybe I could make sure that they understand all this availability to their government. Thank you. It's really not that big of a deal, but I fear the people who do the work I used to do, and if this has not been shared by some internal politics, they're not going to go above the chain of command and go and tell anybody about this. I don't give a flying you know what, because I'm retired. They can't mess with me anymore. But they mess with you if you're an employee and if you don't follow the line. That's the sucky thing about government work. You're always being monitored by the people in charge. And, well, I got so tired of the bull crap, that's why I retired as young as I did. Thank you. My perspective on anything, if you have a question, pose it, and I'll share my best abilities to answer it if you really want to know. If you would rather do it off of a podcast, you can send me an email to rick.adr@aol.com, and I would be happy to respond to you by email. I don't have all the answers. I'm sure I have my own biases. Try not to be totally ruled by them. Yes, I'm a centrist Democrat, which sort of would be almost like a conservative, or rather a moderate Republican. We used to be very close in the old days. Unfortunately, everybody is like this and this. They're all totally to the extremes, instead of some people being in the middle so that we can find cooperation. You can't work together when you're so totally unable to even talk to the other side. Moderate, thank you, Vicki. I mean, moderate isn't a dirty word. It's a good thing, actually. It means that you, depending on whatever the issue is, you might have a whole range of responses to that issue. You're not always to the left or to the right. You're going to go with the flow. You find the information and you determine by your own review of the facts that you understand. Yeah, eat the rich. Well, you know, there's always going to be rich people and there's going to be the rest of us. There is a positive to people who have wealth. They can start businesses, they can employ us. The negative is there's greed in humanity. And when greed takes over, and not just success, we get into problems. And it will never stop. This has been going on since the age of man began. Hi, Lindsay. So, somebody said, how old am I? Well, how old do I look? I'm actually 60. I'll be 61 coming in October. But guess what, folks? I just hit a new low weight. If you've ever heard any of my blabber sessions and you're 54, good buddy. Good time. 50s, 60s, 70s, you could be healthy and vital very long in life. Or you can be very sick and unhealthy at a very young age. Age is just a number. It's how you keep yourself. And here's my number. 220. Okay, it's back. Just a minute. We relocate. Look at this. When I first started working with Dan Bell in 2008, I should say, hanging out and having fun with Dan Bell, and going to Gettysburg was our first place to go to for fun, and then we went to other locations. I eventually hit 289 pounds. Do you know how hard it is to lose weight? I eventually did push back enough to get down to the 270 area, 265 to 275, and I did that for years. But a couple of years ago, I started to have so many problems with kidney stones, and that I was not great at drinking water. Yeah, it's easier to gain always. And I was helping to create these things. So I started drinking lots of water, slowly cutting down my portion sizes of food, slowly cutting down so much junk. I would eat snacks every night, ice cream every night, that kind of thing. And what do you think happens, of course? You don't lose any weight for sure, you probably gain it. Oh, Arsel, I know. Arsel is from Europe, I believe the Netherlands, or if I'm wrong, correct me. And I have enjoyed you, Arsel, and your comments. Thank you very much. You've been a fan for a long time. Not to diminish anybody else, and I think it's great that I've gotten this opportunity, that it's all because of you guys. I'm sure that you find me entertaining. I make you laugh. I help you to feel maybe a little more safe when we have these kind of times. Norway, okay. Thank you, Norway. These are like special secret places I've never been to in my life. I would love to someday. Not anytime now, unfortunately. I did get lucky in my life to go to a couple special places, Hawaii and Alaska, so they were big bucket list items. But if it wasn't for you all, you inspired me to come onto YouTube, to do my own thing, to try to do it myself, even though I'll never be a Dan Bell. I'll never be a Jake Williams. I'll never even be a Brennan Evangelista. These guys have real talent. Or proper people, or so many good people that are on YouTube that are so talented. I'm not that technically advanced in audio video. I'm just being me. Thank you, Laura Lee. And I'm trying. I'm learning slowly. I'm Rick Saranez, legendary enough. Thank you so much. Well, yesterday I put up a video clip from someone else. I did not monetize it, of course. It wasn't my work. So I didn't do that. I just wanted to give them exposure, and I hope that you all would give them a chance. Well, you have given them a chance. There's over 700 views of that video so far, and they've gotten basically doubling of the subscribers. They are very, very small in terms of subscribers and in videos. But the people doing this work, primarily Nick, no. But he has a lovely, lovely wife, sweetie, Heidi, no. No isn't really their last name, but that's how they do it, because someone said, "Can I have your last name?" And he said no. So he always calls himself Nick No. Well, I have sad news. Nick has had a really tough time in the last months. Before the end of the year, he lost his father. He passed. And his mother, not much better off. And, well, his mother survived a very close bout with illness, but unfortunately, last night, she passed away in her sleep. So now he's lost his mother and his father within like 5 months. From both parents being alive to none. So if you could think of sending some good vibes, karma, or if you're a believer, pray for him to be comforted by the Spirit of God, I would personally appreciate it. I've become very fond of those two, and it tears me up to know what happened to him and how he's dealing with this now. So, we all face losing loved ones in our life, but it never makes it easy when it happens to you. So, all the good vibes or prayers we can send to Nick, I would appreciate, and Heidi, and their families. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Rose. So, like I said, Dan and I have been doing these podcasts at a higher frequency than ever before, doing 2 to 3 a week at a minimum. This week we might hit 3 or 4. Because Dan really wants to give back to all the people who've been supporting him on Patreon and all the new people going there. He wants to make up for the times when it was very sparse in terms of new content going on to Patreon. And if it wasn't for Patreon, a lot of the things that we've been able to do with Another Dirty Room wouldn't have been made possible. The equipment that we have been able to obtain over the last year, especially the swab tests, the air quality monitor, those two things alone were thousands of dollars. Cameras, lighting, equipment, it all adds up. Hi Kylie, my granddaughter is on here. I love you, Kylie. Thank you for joining. Yeah, Kylie Harrington in the room. She is such a sweet girl, so loving, smart as a whip. My wife's on here. Hi, honey. Darlene Sarah is in the room. Of course, Darlene Sarah is only 50 feet from me off camera. Since I kind of see her all the time. Still crying. I'm such a softie. I don't care. I know. I think it's one of my strengths that I care about people so much. I wish everybody had that same kind of feeling for their fellow man. Hopefully most of you all feel the same way, but unfortunately we know others who do not feel the same way. Now I didn't say something before, but I saw a green screen come up, so let me go back here. I didn't make my normal intro that please don't feel like you're obligated to donate or give me money on the super chat here. But I thank anybody who feels like they wish to and that it isn't too hard for them to do so because they have the money. Chris Santoro. Rick, I hope you're doing well and staying healthy. Thank you, Chris. Yes, I am. Thank God. We're only here for a little more time. May 7, I'll be gone. It's the 21st of April now. That's not that many days. Unfortunately, it wasn't the normal time, but that's the way it is. It's a tough time for us all. It's a tough time for the world. And I have to believe that no one deliberately set this in motion to harm others. I don't believe the Chinese government spread this contagion. First, a lot of their own people suffer, and then it goes around the world. It's called, there's so many of us in the world and we go all over the place. We fly. Unfortunately, we spread things when we do. So, It's not just the Chinese's fault. Maybe they could have done a better job, but unfortunately they have a history of being very secretive. They don't disclose things. But there's more to it all, and I don't want to go into it now. But I just wanted to say that we have going on what we have going on, in my estimate, not because of any deliberate act. Early on, there were reports that it was some kind of secret laboratory research. No, it's not. It's called an emerging pathogen. It's something that should not cross to humans. And I caught a little bit of some information shared by a friend. Something called the mycelium, fungus in forested areas. It helps keep this all in check. Keeps those pathogenic things, this is a virus, not an organism, at bay. Keeps them from crossing the barrier from animals to humans. Well, when you destroy the forests all over the world, you unleash, unfortunately, these pathogenic organisms, bacteria, virus, whatever, and then they get in contact with humans, and then they spread from person to person. It is called pollution in a sense, overdevelopment in a sense. Maybe, as you might be picking up little stories of, due to no activity or low activity, Venice, the water is so clear, you can watch a jellyfish swim by. And this is not the only example. It's happening all over. Because we are not fouling up everything, because we're staying home, we're not driving as much, the earth is trying to come back. Mother Nature's trying to come back. There's hope for our world. If we would just see that is what Mother Nature can do. If we would just stop slapping her around all the time and be more responsible for what we can be responsible for, and stopping her. The basic things. Pick up the trash. Don't put a bunch of chemicals on your lawn. Save dandelions instead of killing them with Roundup, so the bees have food at this time of the year when it's spring and there's not a lot of flowering plants fully active. That's one little thing you can do. Stop using Roundup. Little thing, you save money too. We used to have these tools. If you wanted to get rid of weeds, you dig them out. And guess what? They actually stay away longer because you get them out by the root. You spray a chemical, they just keep coming back. I really appreciate all the nice things I'm seeing across my screen here. Thank you so much. Okay, I got a special request. The United States should give up the People's Republic of Korea. We are taking over the world. Stay in your houses. Our armies are coming. And what we'll do, we will be giving you our food, our culture. You all will become like us. And it will be a better thing you will see. In the meantime, I'm trying to get over the surgery. I had an addictomy. Yes, they added a dick to me. And now I have a real penis. And not a micro penis that was barely able to penetrate Donald Trump's hiney. So, give up now. No need for bloodshed. I will take care of you all. You will be my children. See, I can smile. Mr. Rodman showed me how to do that. Is that enough? Okay. Oh God. So if you do join Patreon and start watching or listening to the podcasts and you hear the Rick's Erotica and you're not exactly thrilled, please don't give up on us. There's also great content on Patreon that you may not see any other way, such as the little underground movie that started as individual fake TV episodes of Love, Liquor, and Lies. The 4th episode just being released. I'm not sure if it's out yet, but it was coming. Early videos created by Dan featuring the two of us, which were fun to make and are still funny to watch to this day. Thank you, Nafaratu, very much. God bless. Love to you too. Wow, Michael, thank you so much. I'm as good as vodka. That's great. Thank you, Michael, or Micah Tater. That is tremendous news. There was another person I'd read about, was even over 100, who also recovered. So getting the COVID-19 may not be a death sentence, but it's going to be a bitch. Oh, Druid Ridge Cemetery, sure. I actually have been there, not many times. And also Greenmount Cemetery in Baltimore. That's a very cool cemetery. You know about that one, Laura Lee? Yeah. Really, a lot of historical figures are buried there. And plus, it's just a little spot in the middle of unfortunate blight that is quite beautiful behind those walls. I hope that the whole neighborhood outside of those walls becomes the same, because there is efforts to try to improve these neighborhoods so that the people living there have a better, safer place to live. Baltimore needs help. A lot of older cities do. I'm a Baltimorean. I was born in Baltimore City, and I'm proud of that. I think Baltimore will come back and be much better than it is now. Baltimore used to have some of the best science, but our safety regulations, our air pollution rules, similar other standards for health were developed by the City of Baltimore Health Department. And Nirvana was at Johns Hopkins Hospital to be born. You've been watching The Keepers? Oh. That's not exactly a good chapter, unfortunately. That's a sad chapter. Union Memorial Hospital, that's still there, actively serving people. I used to inspect Church Home Hospital, which is closed, of course, and now sitting in that location is a giant new hospital. Oh, okay, cool. Springfield Indians. Yeah, I remember the old Baltimore Clippers. No, you eat crabs in Baltimore. You catch bed bugs. Women are stronger than men, and it's proven commonly in my life. If I didn't have my wife, I'd be a mess. So, that's just my personal example. Darlene. My mother is another good example of a very strong woman. My daughter, Jennifer, I'm sure granddaughter, Kylie, as she becomes a little older, she's strong now, she'll only be better. And I can't imagine me single either. But this guy here in his 20s basically had almost no dates, no social life, and was a lonely man. Can you believe that? Yeah, that's the truth. There's Rick Serra's story. He was no, uh, whatever, man of desire. Women didn't fall at my feet. I've been the same person inside, but too boring, not wild enough, too nice. You know, it's one thing I have seen in my own life is, why would a woman let a man mistreat them and love them and not give a chance to somebody who's nice instead? So smart ladies out there, be lucky if you find a good man. You don't need to be putting up with a piece of shit. Throw them to the side if you have one. Get rid of them. Get rid of the users, losers, and users. You deserve better. Hopefully you can find my clone. Thank you, Chris. Well, I'm sorry, Laura Lisi, that's the way it goes. But you don't need someone now. You already had enough of that. And you got to be happy with yourself and in your own skin anyway, so you're probably better for that. Preach, Amanda says. Yeah, that little fence, unfortunately, but you see this little fountain right there behind my shoulder? So where I'm sitting right here, water starts to the northwest and it follows a bunch of streams, ends up down here. This structure here was created to control how much water is allowed to be released at a time, but it constantly does allow water to be released through this structure, and then it goes directly east from here to Lake Seminole. And Lake Seminole is a very pretty lake, and one thing about Florida, the county parks, the state parks are phenomenal. Great to go to, just a picnic, to go exercise in, just like Maryland has, maybe your home state as well. That's the America we all can enjoy. That's all of our common land. Thank you, Criven. I lost my hard hat and I lost my makeup, but that's okay. And I gave up on the hard drugs in the last couple of years. I don't shoot up any heroin and I don't inhale organic solvents anymore. I'm reformed. And in fact, I decided to stop acting like a girl and be a boy as I was born. It was my choice. Now let me get back to my normal voice. I hate having to be Sandy Gay. I have to go into a trance almost. You inhale grass. I hope it's the kind of grass that you would think about with 420 and not the kind of grass that you cut in your backyard. Because I think that would be a lot of fiber and it might be harsh. Might even cause an infection, a respiratory infection. Yeah, we'll be doing another Dirty Room. I mean, kind of something going on, guys. You know, we are living through a nightmare right now. Yeah, Jack, I'm glad you did. It's always a nice thing to do, especially when you're home and you're not driving anymore. So you can do that and not get in any trouble. And hopefully not wander off. Oh yeah, there'll be plenty. I hope you're wrong. I mean, people fear what's going to happen to the economy in this country and our individual households in the world. Greetings from Spain. Inidi. Thank you. Welcome. Yeah. People who are out there that have been doing cleaning services, working with companies or on their own, and you're not able to do so, you've lost contracts, I'm so sorry. I've heard that story, unfortunately. So many different occupations affected by this that are not fitting the government definition of essential. We're all essential. We all play a part in the economy in the world, but you can live without a haircut. You can't live without food. You can't live without water. So certainly things are more important than others. I think Dan made the right call by not getting on a plane, yes. Have you tried to look at, besides the couple of clips Dan showed on Twitter, etc., what's happening in Ecuador and other South American countries or other places in the world? So, it's not great here. I wouldn't say it's the worst place on earth. So, keep that in mind, folks. No matter how you feel about our government, our leaders, pro or con, it's worse elsewhere. Now, the swimming pool is not my pool, it's neighbors who are so gracious as to let me use their pool. So, make sure that's clear. Yes, I know. Hotels, hotels are going to have to shutter for a while because who's going to the hotels? If there's not as much business, and it's business people traveling that go to the hotels as well as vacationers and travelers, what do you do? I don't know exactly what to do to prep in this kind of a scenario. I know how to prep for a week. In Maryland, we're all supposed to have a minimum of 2 weeks. This is recommendation. Food, water, medications. If you have to evacuate your home because of whatever reason, including a fire, that you have something called a go bag, several changes of clothing and medications so that that's ready to run at the door. And why do I know all these things? I was an emergency preparedness trainer working for the government in the last 10 years. I became involved in it, learned as much as I could, and then became one of the experts in the topic and shared these kind of points by learning them myself and then being able to repeat like a parrot, basically. But then also at an individual healthcare facility level, work with the staff that are running the facility and try to help them to put together their own organized plan and what they needed to put it together. I did training to government people. I did training to private sector. So it was a great opportunity. And I hope that some of the people that are having to deal with this now are using some of the knowledge I shared to help them to get by. And of course, my work mainly in the 25 years of my end of my working life, they were all healthcare facility managers. Thank you, Lauralee. I'm going to go another 15 minutes or so for a happy hour with Rick. I'm really happy that you've joined. Sitting at currently 106 people. That's excellent. I'm so happy to have you here. I need to do it more often, and now that I have worked out this, maybe I'll have more inspiration to do it more, because sometimes I was coming on and doing a live cast and nobody was able to hear what I was saying. Either my old cell phone wasn't good or I just wasn't speaking loud enough. But apparently this is working well, so great. And it looks like the equipment is not sliding off, so I have to keep straightening the phone every minute. It's a little more slow. It's like every 5 minutes I have to do it. Thank you. It's very calming, yes, for me. I mean, I'm blessed, okay? I really am. I'm not rich, but look what I have behind me to watch. This is what I can look at to help calm my spirit. I'm very blessed to have this. And it's actually my mother's home. But when we retired, we warned her, you're going to have some house guests. And here we are. But then in the rest of the year that she's not here, she's with us up in Baltimore. Hit the button, people. Hit the like button, people. And if you somehow are not a subscriber, I don't know how that would be possible, please subscribe. And if you know of people who may enjoy Dan Bell and Rick Serra, please turn them on. We'd love to have more fans and actually maybe help you all through this time as we all live through it with you. Yeah, isn't it a pretty location, Chelsea? It's just a little stinky, 3-foot deep, shallow little pond. I call it Lake Justine. My mother's full name is Justine, just for fun. I don't think it even has a name. Yes, I love Dan Bell too. We're bros. I get mad at him, he gets mad at me, but it doesn't last. I'm glad we found each other. He's the strangest, oddest gay man I've ever met in my life. And I've had many gay friends. Love them all. Just because I'm not a joiner doesn't mean that I don't love them. It's just not my thing. And apparently my lifestyle is not their thing. Come see, come saw, you know? Potato, potato. No, I don't kiss Dan. He's never kissed me. And if you suggest such a thing, you might make him vomit. We're not kissing cousins when it comes to that. In fact, Dan doesn't even like to be touched much. He's a little odd that way. He warms up, he'll put arm around somebody for a photograph, things like that. But typically, with people he doesn't know, he's not going to be real touchy and huggy at first. Exactly. Who cares? But when it comes to caring about people, he does. And lucky, because he can afford to do so, he shares some of his earnings when he can. And he's been doing it during this time. Even donating money up to a couple of the hospitals in New York. Money for programs to help feed people who are hungry. He's always doing something. Donating to shelters that are no-kill shelters to help them to support more animals, to help to save them from being euthanized. I mean, you would not believe, but Dan's also not a bragger. He will only bring these things up maybe in response to someone saying that he is a selfish, rich celebrity who doesn't care about people. He did that the other day. That's why I bring it up, because I saw it happen. Otherwise, you'll not hear much of this from him. He's not standing on a soapbox and saying, Look at me, I'm so great. Look what I did. And all of us, when you donate, you're supposed to do it because you want to, not because it makes you look like such a great person. Anonymously is better. Oh, and I just want to say one thing. It's kind of a topic you might think of. It could be within your own home state. It could be in this country. But let's say we start to open up locations now that are showing very low activity. Maybe it's a beach community. Do you think it's possible that people who live in an area that are locked down and they find that the county that has the oceanside beaches would go across from where they live to that location because it's been opened up and you can go to a bar and you can go to a restaurant because it's based on the people there? Yeah, and you know what's going to happen? Now you'll just spread the contamination to the locations where there isn't much infection. So all this talk about open the country tomorrow is really unwise. It doesn't make much sense. Protest if you wish. When you go out there to protest, please wear a mask. Please bring hand gel. Please stay 6 feet away from people. Put a message up. We have the freedom to protest and assemble. Do it responsibly. That's the only thing I'm asking. I'm not saying you shouldn't protest if you feel contrary to what I'm saying. But quit adding to the problem. There's even stories now emerging of people who poo-pooed all that, and not exactly with very polite language. And unfortunately, they became infected and are dying. I posted about one such gentleman on Twitter. And I'm not happy the person's died from this. But like I said at that time, I hope it's a lesson someone else might learn. That this is not a good idea. I think I get the sense that I'm not seeing a lot of responses here in disagreement with me. So I guess the 100 or so people on this live chat right now understand the sensible way to be. And I'm so glad. Yeah, and if you live in a very densely populated location like New York City, how can you escape? I mean, you can find maybe an empty street now and get a walk and walk through a park. And look, people, it's not like in the air, falling out of the trees. You don't need to wear a mask if there's no one near you, okay? You can actually just have it ready to put on if there's social distancing problems. But when there's nobody around, just have the mask present. Now, if you're in a location that says you absolutely have to wear a mask, you better do so. I'm not trying to say something that would get you an arrest. Because unfortunately, some people who are the people who maintain law and order, they go off a little bit. And then there's some things I've heard in terms of restrictions from some of the governors, like you can't buy tomato seeds, you can't grow vegetables in your backyard. Isn't that isolated still? So, I mean, I think there's some things that need to be worked out, and we could work them out, but by arguing with one another and or by responding to a live broadcast of Governor Cuomo or President Trump with hate-filled responses, that's not helping anything. Getting on Facebook and being shitty to other people who have a different opinion, that's not helping anything. We need to grow up quickly as a race, as a human race. And remember one thing. We need to be civil to one another. And I see one person declared who they want to vote for. That's fine. I'm not asking for people to post who they want to vote for. Everybody has a right to vote. I hope that you'll take advantage of that and you will vote for whoever it is you want to vote for. I'm not trying to tell you who to vote for. And that's the way it should be. If you wish to say something to someone one-on-one, calmly and respectfully, and share your opinion, and then let them have a chance to respond, and they do it the same way, that is a positive example of the kind of discourse we need. But if you are going to flip the bird at each other and almost get into a fight, then you might as well not even start talking at all. Just leave each other alone. I'm so tired of watching people acting like babies, like spoiled children, with people who should have a brain and don't act like they do. Let's grow up. There's no way Rick Serra for president would ever work. One, consumption of marijuana. Number two, consumption of marijuana. Number three, I don't know. I just have no potential, obviously. But maybe I am saying a couple of good things here and there. But I don't know everything, folks. No one does. That's why we all need to work together. Put our heads together. Put our heads together and work together. We'll never get by without that. All right, come on. Let's not start that in here, folks. Let's not throw out different things about what person, good or bad, said this or that for the presidential campaign. Thank you, Steve. Steve Seaboat, who is a local to me when I'm in Baltimore County. Thank you, Steve. I met Steve actually at a local place called Racers Pub to see each other face to face, enjoy watching a football game and having some good food and drink a couple beers. And that was great. No one's perfect, even our leaders. That's the point. Any leader who doesn't understand that needs to get their head examined. It's so much better to be willing to accept your inability than to fake when you have no ability. Thank you, Crystal, for your donation. Cool, she says. Yes, and spooky. All right, let me go back to something I've talked about a couple times in my last few lives. Update on my video for my new project. Well, the other day I went out, I recorded, and I had 3 hours of audio to review, hoping I would catch maybe some more spooky sounding things or even a message from someone from the beyond. It was 3 hours of listening to nothing. It's getting a little frustrating, folks. That's the way it goes. That's why I gave up on ghost hunting, because you have to listen to so many damn hours of audio, and you almost never get something in a photograph or a video. That's just the way it is. If there's something there, it's just not going to follow your schedule and appear for you. And I'm not going to create crap like television. If it's not there, it's not there. I'm not going to make it up. And I already have found a couple of things. And you hear these on in this video. The hair in the back of your neck is going to stand up. I am no doubt. The one thing that we heard there, it sounded like somebody would describe maybe demonic. I don't know if it was. It sounded damn scary though. Ugh. Yeah, Lorley, I have some of those type of things too, both here in Florida at my mother's home and in Baltimore at my home. I think I've shared these before, but I'll share it again because people like the stuff, and we're getting close to the end for me here. No, it's 60 minutes, but I'll go a couple of minutes long. We've heard bangs and taps and things. We've heard footsteps above in the second floor while we're on the first floor. Nobody's up there. A couple really strange things happened with the passing of my sister June. The night she died, we came home, hung out on the front porch, talked about her, had some drinks, had a little wake, went to bed. In the morning, my daughter was the first to wake up. She stayed over that night, and she went back home. My wife got up after her, went downstairs. I was still upstairs sleeping. My mother wasn't at home right at that time. I don't know where she was. I can't remember. Maybe she was down here still. Or I don't know where she was. I just can't remember. And we had a friend there who was with us that night. And she stayed in, actually, my mother's bed. When my wife came down, she's sleeping, she's still in the room, door's still shut, but she hears water running in the bathroom. Upon entry, she realizes the shower is on. Now, when my friend woke up, she had never gotten up since the night before, so she didn't go in the shower. My daughter left and went home. She didn't use the shower. I was doing bed, and my wife is the one who found it. How did the shower get turned on? Second thing happened, again with a bathroom. And this was only a little before we came down here in February. Maybe this was January. I'm downstairs, or I'm outside, and then she found me downstairs when she came down. And my wife took a shower. While she's in the shower, someone knocks at the door. And it was like a knock, knock, knock. So she's in the shower, she's thinking it must be me that needs her. So she steps out of the shower, goes, opens the door, no one there. No one's home beside us. There's only 3 of us that live in the house, my mother, myself, and my wife. You did. AFA lead had something similar. No. We have forced hot air heating. No pipes. And in fact, upstairs, the ducts are not located in the bathroom. We actually had to put a little portable heater in there. In the bedrooms, there's 1 duct for each room. Actually, the same trunk with 2 registers on either side of the same wall. And then there's a central return, if anybody knows what that means. And that's it. How did someone go upstairs and knock on the door like someone would knock? Knock, knock, knock. Not like just a bang, but pretty weird. My wife was not too happy about that, but it didn't destroy her. She was okay. But when she came downstairs and found me, she asked me, "Where have you been?" And I told her, and I wasn't upstairs at all. My sister was 71, and she died just hours before she would have turned 72. And she died of a very rare cancer of the bile ducts. The liver has something called a bile duct, several of them, of course. and it spread from the bile ducts into her kidney, spleen, stomach, and she didn't even know that she had cancer at all. When she found out, she only lived another little over a week. Very sad. Would have been so happy if she'd at least known what was coming, could have prepared, and maybe she could have been in hospice care and managing her discomfort the whole time that was going on. Thank you very much, yeah. I lost my other sister too. I don't have either sister. She also died of cancer. Non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Started in her thigh bone as best we can determine and went into her kidney. Cancer sucks. Why do we have cancer? Because we eat and drink and breathe and are exposed to things that create it. Not that it didn't exist in mankind before the Stone Ages, because it did. And stress, that's right, because that affects your immune system, reduces your immune system, compromises it, and leaves you more susceptible. I'm sorry, April. My condolences. God bless. So, yep. My father didn't die of cancer, but he had a bout of prostate cancer. I didn't die of cancer, but I had to have my prostate removed. My uncle had prostate cancer. He didn't deal with it. It spread to his bladder. He died. So many people in my family have died of cancer or heart disease. Pick your choice. We're all going to die, but we all want a quality of life up to that point. Well, let's try to bring up something a little more pleasant before I say goodbye. I don't want to leave on that note. Healthcare rep, is that what you meant, Lauralee? Yeah. That's something that everybody should consider. Someone who knows your wishes and would be your representative to speak about that. In Maryland, we have something called surrogate decision making. Starts spouse, then it's, if a parent's not alive, then it goes to a sibling, then it goes to uncle, I think, or aunt, and then it goes to cousins. So if you don't have a medical directive, living will, you at least need to have an agreement with the person that's going to represent you, what you want. Instead of thinking about cancer, let's all think about staying healthy. Do what you can. Push away the crap food, eat better, exercise, drink lots of water.
Your mom's watching you.
Okay, well, I didn't say anything too horrible, did I? My wife came over here to tell me my mother has been watching. Oh, and I have, Bo, come here. Want to say hi? Come here. Come here.
You're not coming over here for that.
Come here. I don't care. Come here. Come here, baby. Oh! Here's my son.
Yeah.
This is Bo. He's happy to see you. My mother is 90 years old. 91 in December. This is my baby Bo. He'll be 9 in November. He's a adoptee. We don't know his breed. We guess, but we really don't know. And it's an approximation on his age. But he's a healthy baby. He still likes to play, don't you? And like to go for walks? Like to chase ducks into the water? He's done that a couple times because Daddy wasn't holding the lead. Yes, he's crazy. And he doesn't mind getting dirty. He is a pretty boy. And he's a very good lover. He loves to kiss his daddy. I keep my mouth closed, yes. None of that. Well, I think I found a way to finish this on a positive note.
Hold him. There's a big dog.
Oh, a big dog is coming. A lot of people walk their animals around here. A few of them don't pick up after. We have the pleasure of doing that sometimes. Picking up big old piles. Because I'm not leaving it behind. I'll probably step in it the next time I take him for a walk. So from Bo and I, we want to wish you all the best. Wow. Fisquall, thank you so much. I give 20 to Dan every month. I hope he shares because the podcast and ADR isn't the same without you.
Come here. Good boy.
Well, not necessarily, but he did recently give me a little stipend. Partly to pay for me to be able to be on Patreon at $5 a month. So he gave me the money for a year. And then a little more for me to buy some vodka. And Dan is doing great as far as his attitude, his mood. He feels great. He's, of course, very concerned about everything. And anybody who follows him knows that he gives out that message all the time. Worrying about his fiance in Ecuador. Thankfully, he did not go when because he could have flown in just in time, but he would have been totally sequestered to the apartment that Eric has and not be able to go out except for very minimally. And I mean minimally, not a lot less than we are. When they say you're locked down in Ecuador. And unfortunately, there's so many deaths there, they're running out of places to put the bodies. And Peru, martial order, yeah. It's all over the world, hon. We're all in the same boat. Do what we can to be smart, to prevent. What we can prevent is not to spread to others if we have the infection. So if you get sick, hopefully treatments will become more and more prominent and more successful. We'll see how it comes. Talk to a doctor, rely upon the physician and the experts, not people on television, the internet, or politicians. That's my final word on that. And Daniel McKee, do more live streaming. Thank you, Daniel. I will. I promise you, folks. So don't be surprised to have a cocktail hour with Rick again real soon. Who knows, maybe even tomorrow. So, yes. If you look back at what happened with the time of the Spanish flu and things that they learned and what they put in place then, and look at us now. Shouldn't we already be using those lessons from 1918? Yeah, we should. But some people just want to run through a glass wall instead. Be smart. You be the exception. Thank you all for watching. God bless you all. Thank you for being my fan. And I'm sending my love and my concern to you all. Stay well. Thank you all. Bye-bye.